Are the songs downloading at all?
The majority, you know.
Hey guys, I see you guys joining. We'll be starting in about 2 minutes. Hang in there with us. It's going to be an amazing show. Be sure to share with your friends and family. Hey, Richmond. I'm not even going to try. I need y'all to be praying for your sister this morning. We got an amazing thing that we're trying to get out to you guys, and you know how the enemy be busy. But we're going to get it to you. We're going to share it. It's going to be an amazing time. So we're going to be starting. I see you guys joining. What's up? What's up? You see, I stopped. I wasn't going to mess up your name this morning, girl. I'm going to call you Miss Richmond. Praise the Lord. Yes. What an amazing opportunity to be able to share the gospel with you guys this morning. Or just life, reality. So you know you're not alone in kind of your thoughts. Yeah. Got a couple more minutes and we'll be getting started. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, because I actually do put these videos on YouTube later on as well, and gonna really start circulating the website so you can catch some of the old shows. I know it's kind of early in the morning for some folks that are just getting into work, so you know we can always catch it later. I get a lot of you guys who watch around noon, so appreciative of each and every one of you who watch every morning. What's up, Muhib? I see you there.
Muhib.
Can't wait to have you on the show.
It's an awesome brother.
So
right there.
download it.
Okay, good. Yay. Love you, Muhib. YoutheBomb.com. All of y'all the bomb. What'd you say, Radonte?
He's a good brother, Muhib.
Yes, he
Been good
is.
a long time. Muhib been good a long time.
Yes.
remember
Some
when
of these folk been good just for like a day.
Yeah,
Muhib, you've been gone. You've been good for a while.
That brother been good a long time.
He ain't new to good.
No, he ain't
What's
new
up,
to good.
Kelly? I see you in there. Share, Kelly. This is gonna be. What's up? Here's that piece. Yes, peace. Come on, send us that piece. It's almost 8 o'clock, guys. We're about to go in. You guys do not want to miss this. King Media versus Black Culture. What's up, Kaye? Good morning. God blessings to you as well. And it is 8 o'clock, guys. We're going to jump right in. What's up, Milwaukee and the world? Welcome to another episode of Saved and the City right here on WKJJ, WPJQ 101.3 FM with your girl, Iberia. Yes, we are live, literally live on Facebook and in living color. It is going down. You do not want to miss this, so keep it locked. Make sure that you share with your friends, your family, even some of your enemies, because they need a good word too, so they can get right. I need you guys to definitely continue to rock with me. Make sure that you like me on Facebook at Saved in the City so you can stay completely connected. Join my groups on Facebook to stay connected. Just search Saved and the City. Follow me on Instagram at Saved in the City, on Twitter at Saved_in_the_city. If you like what you're hearing, spread the word to your friends and family to tune in. I could absolutely use all of your support. And shout out to Mima's Gourmet Delights, Pastor Austin. You have the best cakes, and I'm not just saying that because you're my mama, but because they are the bomb. So if you are looking for any type of Southern style dessert, I'm talking red velvet cake, caramel cake. We really don't need it, but sometimes we need it, okay? Especially that good old home cooking, banana puddings, peach, because she does a whole dessert bar. Like she does it for weddings, bar mitzvahs, whatever you need. She got you. Make sure you hit her up on 414-418-0616. Again, 414-418-0616. Shout out to Luminosity Enterprises for all of your marketing support. To my girl, Afeni Grace, holding me down each and every Wednesday right here on Saved in the City. And of course, all of my supporters. That means each and every one of you. I see you, my Facebook Live audience, coming and going as you guys are getting ready for work. I absolutely love each and every one of you. I couldn't do it without you. I absolutely could not do it without you. I'm so excited about this month's show. So we're just going to just kind of jump right in. I have an amazing guest, and I'll introduce him shortly. But, last month we dealt with the Life After series, and we were dealing with life after all of the things that would say that that's it for you. So we dealt with life after divorce and life after loss and life after addiction and just a slew of things that would normally say you're counted out and how we could overcome those. And so, as I was just kind of watching things on television, listening on the radio, and just kind of scrolling down my different timelines on my various social media platforms, something else started to ring in my spirit. I said, God, what are we going to talk about this month? And I was just looking at how controlled people seem to be by so many things that had nothing to do with their own identities. And I said, who's really pulling the strings? Who's really in control here? And at the core of it all, it was pointing back to various forms of media. I've heard a statement that says, he who controls the media controls the world. That blew my mind. I was like, but how true? I don't care how small that, it might be media, filming in a very small section of people, but because it can reach so many people, it'll make you think that small section of people is the masses. And so you start acting like a very small section of people, and then at some point it does become the masses. But we got to be in tune to all of that marketing. And I was a marketing major, graduated with MBA in marketing. So I understand how marketing works and all of that. And so I said, we got to be so careful what we are allowing into our floodgates, our eye gates, our ear gates, how we're seeing things, how we're hearing things. And so specifically, as we're dealing with media this month, we're going to deal with various topics. And this time, I'm calling it King Media because if you think about a king, when you think about a king is the one who lays the law. He sets the pulse of the kingdom, of the culture, of how we dress, what we wear, what's right, what's wrong. And I'm like, dang, is media king? So that's what we're going to be talking about for this month. King Media, starting today, is versus Black culture. And I said, let's get a big dog in the spirit in the ring with King Media. Let's talk about how it's affecting Black culture. And before I introduce Radonte, there's another quote I want to share with you by James Baldwin, which really blew my mind as well as we deal with Black culture. He says, to be a Negro in this country and to be relatively conscious is to be enraged almost all of the time. That thing blew me away because that means we got two choices. Either we can be very conscious and understanding what's going on, but then a lot of times this man is weighing on you, or you pick the side of the masses and go with the flow because it seems easier, so it's like, what side are you on? So before we kind of delve deeply into that, Radonte, you here with me this morning?
I'm here with you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's
Good
early.
Morning. It's early, but it's a great morning.
Come on here.
I like when the Bible says, I love them that love me, and those that seek me early shall find me.
That's the word of God. You can't argue with it.
I'm always up early because it's the best time, to get in pursuit. So I'm excited. I just want to say from the onset that I'm really happy and glad to be here on your platform. Saved in the City is an amazing platform. And I actually, not just because I'm on the show, I was just telling my wife, I actually tune into your show. When I just moved back here to Milwaukee after 14 years of being in Memphis, Tennessee. And this was one of the first platforms that kind of put me back in touch with what was going on in the city and what was going on around the city. So I tune in faithfully, and I'm a fan of the show as well.
Huge.
So
that's a big deal.
You to know I'm a huge fan of the show.
To God be the glory.
Yeah.
So you said you recently moved here, and so what brought you to Milwaukee specifically?
Well, I hate to be cliche, but it was
because
really,
most people trying to run up out of here. I'm just saying.
I did run up out of here. January 7th, 2002. Actually, I left Milwaukee. Gave my life to Christ on the expressway on my way to Memphis. Was not going there to stay, was just really going there to visit my mother and kind of get away from everything I was caught up in. At the time I used to do rap music, Cuckoo Cow, Mr. Do It to Death, Infinite Recordings.
Hey, what you know?
So, Infinite Recordings was my record label. I owned Infinite Recordings, and so, I walked away from that. and kind of gave my life to the Lord and did some soul searching. I wasn't really a good guy when I was here. I was in the streets and typical what they would call Milwaukee guy or whatever. So I was trying to better myself and put myself in a better mindset. And so, I read a scripture that said, taste the Lord and see that he is good. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to try God, and I tried God, and he began to work in my life. I went back to school, got my GED, enrolled myself in college.
I love it.
Graduated from college, married my wife over here.
Come on, good thing.
For 13 years, so God is like, just did some reconstructing with me. And then, September 30th of 2016, I had served in my local church in Memphis, 6,000 member church, Greater Imani, the Cathedral of Faith. I was a youth pastor for like 8 years, and grew the youth ministry from 2 kids to 400 kids. So I was very involved in youth ministry, and then I moved into becoming one of the main preaching pastors at the church. And the Lord spoke to my heart and said, it's time to go back to Milwaukee and help save lost souls. And I realized everything that was going on, and so me and my wife, we got busy coming back here and just getting ourselves reacclimated with the city, and opened up a church at the beginning of this year called the Infinite Church.
I love that, because your record label was Infinite, and then you said, come on, Lord,
but the ironic thing was that when the Lord gave me the Infinite Church, when he gave me the Infinite Church, I didn't even make the correlation between the two, because I had left Infinite Recordings so far behind, and it was so beyond my rear view. And the Lord said, the Infinite Church, Psalms 147:5, great is our Lord and of great power, and his understandings are infinite. And God was just speaking to my heart, and so we opened up the church, and God has just been growing it. We're located at 3940 North 21st Street, right here in the heart of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And so I'm excited about it, to be in the 53206 area.
Wow,
and we just here, we locked in, ready to do the work.
Love it. I love it. Oh my God. It's so fitting too that, like you said, you have a passion for what you're doing. And I think that, a lot of times as the church, you have some people who, believe it or not, are still stuck in certain ways. And if we don't start to move with the times, we are losing so many different people, and if we don't understand the role that social media plays, and also bringing it into our own churches, so that we can also be a voice that people are seeing coming down their timeline. Social media plays a major role in feeding us the images that shape our perception of the world and ourselves.
Exactly.
And so, honestly, the reason why I initially reached out to you, there was so much controversy beyond a post. So we're gonna deal with this post. So there was a lot of, even beyond what Radonte put up, there was a lot of controversy behind a particular R&B artist named called Tank.
Who is a friend of mine.
When you say called Tank, like, I'm old. Like, they call him Tank. Okay, anyway. So there was, who was a friend of his.
By the way.
So apparently he has a lot of friends in Milwaukee. A lot of people say he's a friend. So anyhow, so he's at the DC Pride Fest. And so that's the thing, now, we got Milwaukee Pride Fest coming up. It's growing every year, larger and larger and larger. And even people who are not homosexual attend these particular events. So anyhow, there was a photo that was circulating and a video circulating about around with Tank, who was scantily clad. And for those people who don't, he was naked pretty much. No, he wasn't naked. He didn't have
rubbing on himself.
Yes, rubbing on himself. And he had no shirt on. He looked amazing. But I'm just saying, on the other side, hey, listen. So anyhow, I can't take y'all crazy. So anyway, so what happened was, so he's singing sexually explicit music in front of a sea of homosexual males. And so Radonte put a photo up, and so people went immediately to the left and, was kind of going, I'll let him kind of explain what the, what happened with this photo. But my part was, I'll put this and then I'll let you kind of explain your part. But when I put the photo up in my group, I was just saying, a lot of people are saying, get your money. This is just how it is. And people are just completely desensitized to the power of media and of your image. Your image in front of people. And so, I started to see just this kind of continuous trend of I don't know if it's demasculation or emasculation of the black male.
I always
mess it up, right? So what we're trying to say. But go ahead and jump in, because I can go. You can go over me.
I put the post up, and I literally in my post I was stating, I said it's a shame the feminization and criminalization that's happening with young black men. And my reasoning for putting up that particular picture was solely because it came down my timeline. So it was not like I went and dug for it. It came down my timeline. I re-put it up and I put that post up. But it was also, for me personally, it was coupled with several things that I have seen taking place. And I'm saying with men, period, but especially with young black men, there seems to be a intentional push to feminize as well as culturally criminalize the mindset of young black men. My post was never really about the sexual side of it or even the homosexual side of it. And I even put up a little bit of a rant afterwards because so many people were upset with my post. And I was saying if I wanted to, as a pastor, if I wanted to address the homosexual side of that issue, I would have not used my opinion. I would have went to a text and I would have stood on it from that perspective, whether people agreed with me or not. But my thing in looking at that picture, I saw from my perspective, and again, I posted this on my timeline. I didn't invade anybody else's timeline. I posted this on my timeline. From my perspective, I saw a man, and then I saw other men who were putting their butts up in the air, and
I saw they were grinding,
they were putting their legs up in the air.
I saw that too.
And it literally, I saw this picture of thousands of black men who were literally all, even I understand where it was at, but I saw thousands of black men, and it literally looked like they were all acting like 13-year-old teenage girls. And so when I thought about that, and then earlier that day, I had saw, it was this young rapper by the name of King. And he's kind of young thuggish. Okay. Let me just say it like that. And so all of these images, and then I just, from my own personal knowledge of working in radio, working in marketing, I understand that everything that we see and everything that we hear is literally set there intentionally by people. When you get on the radio, when you hear a song, those songs are literally set there by someone. And so I knew that we were being marketed, people are being marketed feminization to young black men. Young men are being marketed this idea that it's okay to be feminine. I was not speaking to just their sexuality. I was speaking to, because a young man I see young men in relationships with women who are still feminine. I see men who are even married who act very feminine. So I started speaking to that particular issue right there, and boy, it set off a firestorm.
I think the concern, though, for me, like you said, is that, and that was the part that stood out to you when you saw that picture. But for me, it was that part, and then just the idea of how seeing that image, and we're seeing it portrayed over and over again. If we're talking about the feminization of the black male, then we can. I actually like this show, but we can talk about Empire. We can talk about a lot of other different shows that are doing this, and it is. And I guess the part that bothers me is that people want to act like imagery is not a real thing.
It's a real thing.
That it doesn't actually hold real power.
Well, there is an agenda. When I say there's an agenda, you have to understand that there is a literal push. There is an agenda. It's no different than when you walk into a grocery store or a gas station. And if you ever notice, if you go into a gas station, all of the Snicker candy bars are right there below the counter. Why? Because they're at the eye level of a child. And they know that children are going to be the ones that are the most enticed by candy. This is all marketing. You're a marketing major, so you understand. I understand marketing very well. So you have to understand that a lot of the images that we are seeing, we don't design clothes. You know who's designing clothes? There are people in Paris and people in other places who are literally getting together and saying, no, these are the images that we want to portray. We want the clothes to be a little bit tighter. We want things to fit like this. There is a push that is happening on all levels to try to feminize men, and I think that it's okay. I'm just a brother. I'm one of those. I'm kind of like a man's man. You know, I like to let my stubble grow every now and then. And I think that it's okay for a man to be a man. And so when I posted back, it was kind of my pushback and saying, hey, listen, man, get off of us, like for real. Like it's too many young brothers that are really being sensitized, feminized. And the reason I think that that's a problem is because naturally men are aggressive, just through nature. Just if you take through nature, men are naturally aggressive. Now, if you take one of the things that I learned later in life about being a man is that a man, even though he's aggressive, he knows how to control his emotions. He knows how to control himself, gather himself. An older man told me, they said, this is one of the things that makes a man a man. Now, when you strip that ability away from a man, and women are a little more naturally emotional, meaning that, women kind of can cry and things like that.
I cried like 4 times yesterday.
Exactly.
I embrace my femininity.
That's not downplaying the strength of a woman. It's just saying that women are naturally a little bit more emotional. Now, when you take an aggressive man and you mix him with this over emotional mindset, and then you see these young brothers running around, now you get an understanding of why this young brother couldn't put his gun down, why he had to shoot dude for stepping on his shoe, why instead of something that 2 men could have shook hands about and talked about. We have a group of young men that are so over emotional right now. We have a group of young men that are not being taught to gather themselves, to calm down. Hey brother, me and you, we can go to the side. I remember me and this brother back in the days. I remember we had a fist fight. We was at a club and he was with his guys, I was with my guys. This could have turned into a huge shootout. Me and this brother, we went behind in the alley. We fought head up. When we finished fighting, we shook hands. We went about our business, and we still friends and alive right now today. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say is that I think that there's a culture that is being tapped into on purpose, and that's why I'm against the feminization of young black men, because our young men need to come back to manhood. Manhood will make a young brother look at another brother, and say, man, this ain't nothing that we got to kill each other about. But when you over emotional and you aggressive, that is a dangerous, toxic soup. And so, somebody had to say something. And it's a lot of people that really got upset with my post, but it's cool. I'm a big boy. I can take it. But, at the end of the day, I believe that the feminization of young black men is a real thing. I believe that these images are really coming from a real place. When I was working radio, radio, I literally took a positive song to a radio station, and I met with an old white PR director who sat down. This man had to be 67 years old, and he literally said, this song, in order for it to get played, even though the finances are there, but if you take this song and you put a little pimping in it, he literally said this. He said, if you put he said, people want to hear some pimping. He said, they want to hear, a couple beats. He said, you can switch them around, change them upside down. And I was like, that's crazy that there are people who are controlling what people hear. People who are controlling the images so this is a real thing.
It's a very real, oh my God, you so in right now, sir. It's a very real thing. So you talked about the feminization of the black male. We talk about the criminalization of the black male, and all of that is, so what is that? The criminalization obviously is going to lead to a road of them ending up in prison, and the feminization is going to lead to a road of them ending up with another man at some point. And what that is really doing is perpetuating the broken family unit.
Exactly.
And then, so when we move over onto the other side with the women, because we're talking about black culture in general, I don't know if you guys have seen the recent, there's been all of this now kind of propaganda and marketing behind the real side chicks of Charlotte. And every one of them, except for one, is black. And they are literally, you saw the picture I showed you earlier. And so I haven't actually seen the show either, but I did. I think I don't know if they were on the Breakfast Club, but they were on one of these radio shows. And they really have a stance that they're taking. Like, no, I don't want, I get the same thing that the other woman gets, but I don't have to have the headache. Like, they all have this whole thing. Some of them are like, I don't even want to be married. Yes, you do. I mean, maybe not everybody, but really, a lot of times we end up, because we were not designed. We literally, if we go biblical, we're not designed to be alone. Like, we're supposed to be we're supposed to be partnered up. You know,
but if it's being marketed to you,
that's what I'm saying.
If this things become marketed to you, as if this is really cool and acceptable, like even you know, from biblical times, even today, you know, typically a woman would be kind of shunned for even wanting to take that kind of stance. Like sisters would be on sisters saying, "Girl, don't do,
right,
you know, what you doing, right?" Like, you know, but when it's marketed to you and said that, hey, this is the new standard of cool, and this is coming from somewhere. Somebody's pushing the go button on these shows.
And
somebody's
there's music that supports it too.
There's music that support drug use. I mean, the number one song on radio right now is what? Mask Off, right? So people are hearing Molly Percocet. Molly Percocet.
What? I didn't mean to go A, but that's what happened. And then you'll be like, hey, Molly Percocet. Or the new Drake song. I'm high and drunk, or I'm both, or whatever the thing is now, and like it's like,
and they make it so cool. It's like the Devil's theme music is so cool. It's so cool.
Wow.
You got theme music to destruction now. Like instead of superhero theme music, you literally got theme music. I need you to say that again. You said theme. You got theme music to destruction. It's like I'm jumping off the edge. I'm jumping off the edge, and it's like people are like,
you don't listen,
celebrating you to suicide or something, right? And this is. And see, I'm gonna tell you what's dangerous about this for our community is because even though they say, well, there's a majority of white kids that listen to this kind of music. I say, yeah, but when white kids finish listening to the music, they can turn the music off, they can go back to work and all of that. But young black kids, we have to become the character. We have to dress like the character, act like the character, wear our hair like the character, buy the same shoes as the character, do the exact same drugs as the character. If Lil Wayne writes on his face, then guess what? I'm going to write on my face. If somebody else does
let me tell you why that is because we don't have a balance. Because the media outlets won't allow us to have, a slew of, you can't even really say Bill Cosby anymore because of that whole situation. You see
we had that back in the days. We had a balance. When you had NWA, you had KRS-One, you had Public Enemy. Even though you had gangster rap, you still had, and other people, even other regions and different places were literally known. You can come to Milwaukee and hear one kind of music. You can go to the South and hear another kind of music. You can go to the West Coast and hear another kind of music. Now, in every single community where there are people of color, you're going to hear and see the exact same thing. And you have to understand that is coming from somewhere. All media is owned by the same company. Literally. Like all media at the end of the day is owned by the same company. I didn't come to do that, but just to be real, there ain't but 5 people in the nation that can put a song on the radio. People don't understand that it's 5 people. I know this for a fact because I used to work for one of them, so I know what I'm talking about. All I'm trying to say is that media is owned by the same people, and that there's somebody that is pushing the button and saying, this is the imagery that we want to have for African Americans. This is the imagery that we are selling. This is the imagery that we're pushing. And when you hear that all day long, if all you hear is drugs, and I'm a B, and I'm a H, and I'm a real N, and I'm this, and I'm this, and I'm that.
My girl got a girlfriend.
You end up, exactly.
I'm just saying.
So you start walking in that. And and that's what we're faced with. So that's why I looked at the picture with Tank, and it bothered me so because I saw young men. I didn't know their preference one way or another, but I saw a group of young men who were literally looking like a group of teenage women, and I said, no, this black, we got to be better than this. We got to be better than this. So I spoke out against the feminization of black men, and boy, did I get attacked. I got attacked by psychics and all kinds of
we gonna come back after that and talk about some of that craziness. Oh my God, this is fire, guys. If you are just tuning in, share this, like this, subscribe, all of that, because we're gonna be back with Radonte in a few. We're gonna go to our first break, but before we do that, you know what time it is. It's time for the Word Up Challenge. So give me a scripture as it pertains to identity, as it pertains to who you are. Because that's a problem. There's an identity crisis going on in our culture. We have no idea who we are. A lot, people don't. We want to, minimalize slavery and say that, that it no longer affects us. But a lot of it does have to do with the fact that we never really dealt with what happened when we came over here. And I'm not just blaming white people. I'm just saying we got stuff to deal with. All right, so we're gonna go to our first break, and we'll be right back after this. All right. So you see how the enemy no, you can't put this on the watch. We gonna put it. I'm about to. Okay. All right. So you can move out actually, and come on, now, see.
Do you want music for the next?
Yeah, I mean, you could be playing now while I'm moving, you know.
You just funny that you said that because I was over here talking about we used to just fight it out, push it off, but we're home about this. But now,
What's up? Thank you.
Sometimes I don't make wise decisions. Done things that made you cry. Won it all without your permission.
I'm going to do something called church announcements, and then after that I'll introduce you as a walking church and we'll talk about everything.
But how in the world do you continue to love me? I confess it to you, then I go and do it again.
Man, we talking right. I don't hear what nobody's saying.
I'm drowning.
Yeah, buddy.
We talking right.
But, man, what y'all was saying is true. What's going on though is we've been, our black women have been brainwashed with the word independency. We've been taught that independency is healthy. There's three kinds of dependencies. There's independent, codependent, and dependent. Two of them are unhealthy. That's independent and codependent. Independent is because God created us to need someone. If you need a hand, I'll pull you up. If you need one, you pull me up. The father is the head of the household. The kids depend on him to be a provider, a protector, and the one that makes the sacrifice. So there's a natural dependency. When you take your car to get it fixed, the brakes fixed, you don't go back on there and pull the tire off and say, let me see if the brakes is on there, right?
Well, we got to deal with where that stems from, though. When we deal with independency, that's a whole nother. I'm going to bring you back on. We're going to talk about that. Because it stems from something of us having to be independent, not wanting to be, and then it becomes a part of the
deals with
our makeup.
Willie Lynch said, if I make the independent black female, I can control them for 2,000 years. It's in his letter. But
I believe that.
But we never paid attention to how back in the 18 and 1700s, they would take the black male out of the home and send him to a different plantation.
Oh, yeah.
And the female had to be submissive and dependent on the white male and welfare, the child care, the housing. So when you fast forward to the 1900s, you take the male out of the home by sending him a social worker by once a month, and he has to run out of the house because she won't get no benefits. Flash forward to 2000, you take him out with child support. You put a child in the house, you put her in jail for child support. You keep him out of the equation, forcing her to be in there.
There's a lot of underlying things that we have to deal with just as a people in general. Okay, yeah, we're gonna you put your head right on. And we are back, you guys. We are locked live. I know you see my Facebook audience. Y'all get to hear all of the behind the scenes stuff. Oh my God, this has been an amazing show thus far. You know, we're dealing with King Media versus the black culture, you know, and we're calling it King Media because that seems to be the thing that's pulling the strings, that is saying who we are and what we do and how we dress and how we're supposed to be, and it doesn't have to be, because what I love is that Lord Jesus is King of Kings, Lord of Lords. So the thing is, we don't have to submit to what society has said that we have to be. And so I'm going to jump right into our church announcements. Man, this has been an amazing show. Don't worry, we got Radonte coming back on. You see Monty over here. We're going to talk to him in a few minutes. He is my amazing Milwaukee treasure this week. And so we're going to jump right into the church announcements. And so if you have an event, if you have a community happening or anything that's going on in the city that you want me to share live on the show, doesn't cost you a thing. You can just email me at savedandthecitymke@gmail.com. Again, savedandthecitymke@gmail.com. SaveandTheCity.com, and I am happy to announce your event right here on the show. All right, so we'll jump right in. SSB, which stands for Spirit, Soul, and Body. Ladies, are you still on a high from women in worship? For those people, I think Afeni went with me. We went to Women in Worship, and it was just an amazing event hosted every year by Pastor Melva Henderson. But actually on June 10th, it's coming Saturday at 9 a.m., you can join Pastor Melva again for a free, awesome gathering where you lift your spirits, touch the soul, and sharpen your body. The focus is Women of Faith. Registration for the giveaways and light refreshments are at 8:30 a.m. And again, it doesn't cost you anything if you register. It just gives you a chance to win. The sessions actually begin at 9 a.m. Also, the second annual Prayer in the Park is happening not this Saturday, but on Saturday, June 24th at 10 a.m. in Lincoln Park through Believers United, it looks like. And they're saying that they're asking us to join them as they pray for our city at the second annual Prayer in the Park. They're looking for believers in Milwaukee and the surrounding areas to show their faith in action through prayer. Y'all be sending me full paragraphs to read. I'm like, it doesn't matter what denomination they say, church affiliation, or event. If you are not a member of a church, they still want you to unite together as one body and pray together. So they're looking for churches, ministries, faith-based organizations to partner with them. So make sure that you reach out to Chantel Sane on Facebook. You can just inbox her. Again, her name is Chantel Sane. Also on Friday, June 9th at 5:45 p.m. it looks like, actually that's when it's happening, and it's going to be held at the lakefront. Also, the Credit Camp presents the After 5 Credit Powwow. That seems kind of interesting to me. And it says, learn the fastest way to get a 700 credit score. So if you're looking for like a first-time home buying education, rent-to-home education, you're tired of being denied because of bad credit, you want to become a home owner, then you actually can reach out to them. And actually, I'm sorry, that was on June 9th at 5:45 p.m. at the Lakefront McKinley Marina, 1600 North Lincoln Memorial Drive. Also, this Father's Day, the brunch is happening. The Father's Day brunch is happening at the Big Easy. We actually had Gumbo Man Johnson here on the show a couple weeks ago. Sunday, June 18th, this is happening, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And they have all kinds of everything, y'all. Prime rib carving station, waffle and omelet station, dessert station, salad bar, catfish, chicken, shrimp, crawfish etouffee, grits, southern yams, green. I mean, they doing it over there. And I've actually eaten there before, and the food is really, really, really good. And lastly, we have the Free Legal Cafe. It is going to be held at Fresh Start. Shout out to Nancy Yarborough. And it looks like it's every third Tuesday, 2 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. And if you have questions, you can call Nancy at 414-800-6269. Again, 414-800-6269. Wow, that's a lot. So again, if you have any events that you want me to announce live on the show, you can just email them to savedandthecitymke@gmail.com. Now comes one of my favorite times in the show, where I get an opportunity to shine light on someone amazing in our city. We spend so much time. If you watch the news, I think last night I watched the news, and they said it was some baby that died on 16th and Meineke and 2 children that died. I mean, it's just always so much negativity. And so I like to take an opportunity to shine light and talk about some positive things. And so this week's Milwaukee treasure happens to be a man that does so much in the city. Monty, you hanging with me this morning?
Yeah, I'm hanging with you.
I know you had your comments about the independent woman. I said we got to bring you on for that next time for that. But let's talk a little bit about the just some of the things that because you're a playwright. You are such a supporter of so many different people and organizations in the city. What do you got going on? Tell the people why you do what you do.
Well, my inmate number is 186753.
Wow.
And most people don't know it because they see Monty Mabra versus Diamond. And years ago, I used to run the streets, and this is the only thing I knew. So I was well street educated, and now I'm educated. I have a number of degrees and so forth and so on, license, certificates. But in doing that, I met a man by the name of Gabriel Goins, and he was a social worker in this program called the Choice Program. And I had been in prison about 50, 60 times, and that's not even exaggerating. Jail, house of correction, in the city, out of the city, in different states, everywhere. Spent most of my adult life, like 25 years incarcerated.
No idea. Wow.
Yeah. So I ran across this guy, and he told me, he said, you got one or two choices. You can be part of the problem or part of the solution. He said, there's no middle ground. So you pick which one you're going to do. The prisons ain't going nowhere. The graveyards ain't going nowhere.
Right. So you made a choice.
And the choice was, hey, I'm going to be a part of the solution.
And I see, and you are. You help so many people who are aspiring musicians, singers, and the organization or the building that you have on North Avenue, that's housed to do lots of different things.
Well, we teach singing, dancing, acting, spoken word, and instruments, and I had to do that because as a kid I didn't know how to play basketball, football, or baseball, so I was a bully. I called myself the Napoleon bully because I was small. But I learned how to fight because I was small, and so I take the basketball, and I didn't care who you was. We fought because I was not giving you the basketball because I couldn't play. And I wanted to be on the court. But I actually liked it to draw and dance, and so I know there's kids out there that like to dance, draw, cook, do music. There's a lot of other different things, and those opportunities weren't there for them. So I was like, hey, here's my chance to do a community center different than, hey, y'all can come play basketball. Y'all can come and actually go in the recording studio. We have instruments. You can learn how to play instruments. We have a dance studio. You can come learn how to dance. But more importantly, I started doing plays. So I trained actors. David Stewart being one of them.
I know. Yeah, we had him on the show before, and he's an amazing. He was in several Tyler Perry's plays.
Well, the first play he did was My Love Life Gives Me the Blues. Child.
That's where I think I saw him, because he was playing some role with some cheating woman.
Side
chick, so Charlotte.
We called her Monday Night Football. But so I had the opportunity of working with a number of artists that went on to make it.
Because even Sharon Willingham came through what you did as well.
So it's just a joy to see that people in Milwaukee really do have talent and will really, if they have the opportunity, they will go and they will commit themselves to it. The newest thing I got coming up, though, I don't want to waste my time.
No, you're good.
Is I've been going to a number of meetings with the Milwaukee Drug Task Force, and one of my concerns was they had no one on the board that actually used. It was a bunch of people with degrees, but no experience and no knowledge of really drug addiction. And so I've been going to the meetings, and at one point in time, they was like, "Well, maybe you should consider that." And I'm gonna do my thing, and I'm gonna look for their support, and I'm gonna give them my support. But I don't think that's a good fit for me.
Oh, okay. Are we talking about this on the flyer?
Right now, this is what we're getting ready to do. It's called My Addiction. And it's to address the opiate, heroin, and cocaine epidemic.
Now, what is this exactly? Is this not a play?
Yes, it's a play, and we will have speakers there. We will have doctors there. We will have paramedics there.
It's so real.
The fire department. We will have a number of different entities there to give you resources and information on drug addiction, how it starts, how it's recreational. Like we was talking about Molly Percocets.
Yeah.
And that's the opening song of the play.
Wow.
And that's the theme song now. So getting high is nothing new.
It's
now.
nothing.
I remember it used to be
that's
so
a big
shameful
cause of all of the car accidents. Honestly,
it used to be so shameful. No one would want you to know they get high. They would go somewhere and hide. But now you see a guy from the suburbs, a white male, in a parking lot at Walgreens in the parking lot on Titonia with his needle in his arm, like. I got a right to be here and do this. However, you can't reverse those roads and let a black male go to a Walgreens in the suburbs and sit in his car with no drugs. Wow,
how about that?
And the only thing that I've seen on television is the white families that are affected by drugs.
Yeah.
When I see black families every day, people come into my office talking about, hey, my mother, my brother, my cousin, my niece, and so forth and so on. But there's no black families on the media that you see on TV saying, hey, look, my brother died because of this. But you see
right now. Yeah, now it's an epidemic when it's other, the other races.
And it's not being racist because drug addiction has no race, it has no sex, it has no color. It don't care who you
don't
is.
respect the person.
If you like me, I love you until you're dead.
Wow.
It's the only real marriage, to death do you part.
So. That's huge, man. I'm so glad that you are in our city and bringing light to things like this. Like you said, we have to. If we're not seeing it in the media, then as a culture, I mean, we come from an oral culture, so we have to be able to do things within our own communities to make sure that we have awareness about things like this, or just having other outlets like you have on North Avenue for kids to be able to connect and come and dance. And it could be dancing at a studio and not around a stripper pole, if I can keep it real. I'm so serious, so I just wanted to take time and just shine light on you and say, I see you, brother. I see what you're doing. I respect you. And I thank you for everything that you're doing in our city.
And thank you for having me. Can I say one more thing?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
One thing that made me happy is because the kids like to act.
Yeah.
But in order to act, you have to read a script. So guess what's happening? Their comprehension level.
Wow.
And
there we go.
Reading abilities are going up. So I get parents that call me and say, hey, my son's doing better in school. My daughter's being better in school. And this is for Quincy Gardner, who's graduating today.
I know Quincy.
I'll be at your graduation. But
Congrats,
Quincy came to me as a 12-year-old boy. And he told the mayor, he said, the only reason I'm on honor roll now is because Monty said he was going to kick me out the play and not allow me at the center.
That's huge.
So he went on and he got on the honor roll. He's in the School of the Arts and he's graduating today.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Quincy. Shout out to Quincy Gardner and all the young people that have come through your program. Thank you for being a part of the village. We absolutely need you. We need you all. Find ways to connect and not just complain about the problem. Find a way to be the solution. Monty, I have to have you come back so we can talk about the independent woman. Is that all right?
That's fine.
All right, we're going to be right back after this break. Let's go. Hey, oh, wow. That, we don't even think about that. How just, them acting and being disciplined with instruments really does. And they're taking so much of the arts out of the schools,
We don't have wood shop, metal shop. We don't have nothing.
Right, the trades and just anything, yeah. None
of that. And then you have music.
Right.
You had a music class and not only that, home economics.
Come on.
So girls can't cook no more. Microwave.
Monty, Jermaine said, get it, bro. Jermaine right out said, get it, bro. Yeah. This is Courtney F. Howard that you guys are hearing. Actually, I'm gonna have Monty come back real quick. I want to get one quick picture with you. Okay. I'm sorry.
Did I tuck my chin like Sister Yvonne said? Tuck your chin, tuck your chin. You got too much fat up under your neck.
Keep our angles right.
That's right.
You gotta take an angle picture of these.
I left my wallet.
And one more. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. Hang with us, y'all. Good morning, Chantel. Just announced your event not too long ago. We talking about microwave. So how do you want to call that? I think oh yeah, just call me, text me, whatever. Oh, absolutely. Oh, this is her. Oh, her. What is her? So I think we're kind of coming back. The thing is, we were talking about what's happening. Let's talk about this solution. Okay. Like how do we bring, what do we do? You know what I mean? Like, I know we can't. It's not, you know, it's each one, you know, like, what do we do? This is that corny and power. I was like, what's his name? I was like, Monty not ready to be on this independent woman thing.
He ain't ready for you.
I was like, we have to talk about that for another one. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Well, I learned early that there's some conversations that we should just stay out of.
No, we can talk about it.
No, I'm talking about me.
Oh.
Get your foot on the couch.
Yes, right. Okay, right. No, like we can talk about it, but
I'm Frank with a T.
I'm Frank. Oh yes, and we're back. And we are back. Put your headphones on because it's real.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Y'all, I love doing this. Y'all have no idea. So we are back live.
Make it real for me.
Live and in living color. Oh my God, this has been an amazing show. Shout out to Monty, who is just, you know, I love what he's doing in the city. He's such a great supporter of Milwaukee, and just to hear a little bit of his testimony. I mean, there's so many that would say that especially if you spent that long in prison, that there is no life on the other side. I could have had him on our Life After series, Life After Prison, because he is really making a real difference. So we thank you, Monty, for all you do. We back with Radonte. Are you in the studio with us live still?
I'm live. I'm right here. We live.
That is Pastor Radonte Ashford. And tell them again where your church is.
3940 North 21st Street, the Infinite Church. We are located inside the Prosperity Building of the Believers in Christ Ministries. We're using the facility over there, right there where the old YWCA building. We're inside of that building. God is really just blessing us right now. We're a small congregation, about 167 people. But we're growing, and the Lord is. I tell people all the time, we small but we tall. 3940 North 21st Street.
I love it. I'm so excited to have you on. I mean, honestly, we've been going in. This is a very powerful and a very needed discussion as we're talking about media and how the images of media. And we're not just talking about social media. I'm talking about radio. I'm talking about the magazines that you're reading. I'm talking about the video games that you're playing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just completely desensitizing us to so many things. And so we were talking about the feminization of the black male. We're talking about the criminalization of the black male. We're talking about just African American women. We're talking a little bit about the independence, but really kind of where that stems from, you know, having to be, if we don't deal with our history. Now the thing is not, you know, resting on the history and saying that you know, that slavery is what defines me, but it is a part of my history. And if I don't deal with that, I can't deal with my healing process. So and I think that's kind of where we are. It's like, how do we begin to heal? How do we begin to, or even I think we have to start with identifying.
Well, exactly. And that's where I was gonna go. I was literally gonna jump in and say that you know, oftentimes we often rush the discussion. And we say, well, let's get to the answer. Let's get to the answer. But we don't understand that sometimes the healing is in the discussion. We need to discuss these things. I believe that communication is such a powerful thing. When we begin to communicate about exactly what's going on, and then authentically tell the truth about what's going on. You know, Jesus said these words. He says, you should know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. It's something freeing about the truth. When we tell the truth about what is happening in our community, what is happening to us, what are the things that are happening around us, instead of us just saying, oh, it's just the norm. You know, sometimes we have, you know, you have people that are out fighting against the injustices that are taking place, but then they ride off playing, you know,
Molly Percocet.
Right, Molly Percocet. It's like we all have to all of us, you know, have to take an account for what's actually taking place. And again, this is not just in Milwaukee. It would be different if this was an isolated event. You can go to Oklahoma. You know, you can go to Maine. If you anywhere where there's a Martin Luther King Street in this nation, you're going to see the exact same thing.
What is that?
And, you know, maybe you've been riding and just riding. Have you ever been riding? I've done this, found myself doing this. Have you ever been riding and just said to yourself, wow, what is really going on with us?
Yes.
Like, for real? Like,
yes. Like, it's scary.
What would
it's like zombies.
What would cause someone to burrow through a light at 90 miles an hour? Or what would cause someone to live in such a way that they don't not only care about my life, they don't even care about their own life? And so there's something that has taken place. And the only thing that I could really put my hand on is that our people have been marketed to live a certain kind of way.
So good,
we've been branded and marketed. Many years ago, I was teaching my youth group about, because I said it. I said, when Lil Wayne started tattooing his face, and then right behind that I saw, and I'm not blaming Lil Wayne. I'm just saying the imaging of how cool this is. And now, look at how many of our young people are walking around with their faces all tattooed. And do you know how desensitized you have to be to tattoo your face? It's your face. Like, this is your face.
And the problem
you know what I mean?
and the problem is we're not on an equal playing field.
Exactly.
And I'm not necessarily coming against other races, but a Caucasian person can tattoo their face and still in some way find a community to support them, and they can still function in the world. Exactly. You know, and that's the problem. The thing is, so they will, and I'll just use the term they lightly, they will rape our culture of all the things that we are. And we will do the same thing, and we'll be shunned for it. But then a Kim Kardashian, sorry Kim, will get injections in her butt, and she's not as celebrated as she was, but you know, she could be celebrated for it. But or you know, she's the woman. Like, I was watching Family Feud, like literally, this is kind of funny, but they were the topic was like, you know, whose booty is just as popular as they are, or whatever. And it was J-Lo, it was Kim Kardashian, and it was all these other people. And J-Lo may be very, you know, real for real, you know, but I'm like, it's not even real. And like, at least like call out the name of some pygmy African American woman. But I mean, like, we're completely raped of who we are, and it's marketed to other people. And then when we do it, you know, we have backlash.
It's completely marketed to us. These images are marketed to us. These images are sold to us. And you have kids who are literally been indoctrinated. You know, we're generations deep in this thing. You know, if you go back in the days, I'm about to hit you with something else. And if you go back far in the days and you see pictures of our great aunties and things like that, do you notice that women never used to take pictures with their back to the camera and their head? The back. Women never used to do that.
Like, what is that? And then throw a little duckling.
But again, if you have these images, these images, and we have the most debased, debaucherous images of us that are marketed to us in such a cool way that the only way that we could exist is according to how negative we could be. There, you got people out here who are celebrating whose community has the most killings. You know, hey, we the number one crime. I come from the number one crime place. You shouldn't even want to come from no crime place. Like, you know,
right.
But it's marketed to us as this being cool. And so I was saying the same thing in terms of speaking on the feminization side of things. That also is being marketed to young men. And you know, I know there's an argument where people say, talk about born this way, this, that, and the third. My argument is this: everybody wasn't born that way. All right. Some of these kids are being marketed out of their manhood. They're being marketed away from who God has designed them to be. And
I would be bold enough to say that some of the women are being marketed out of their womanhood. I kissed a girl and I liked it. You know, it's all powerful. Of these different things that, you know, like I said kind of earlier jokingly, my girl got a girlfriend. Like, that's the cool thing. It's hip. Like, yeah, I can be with my best friend. It's cool. And the thing is, you opening these doors.
That's right. Doors.
That you can't. Doors. I mean, you think it's going to be like, oh, no. Because, you know, if I can get a little churchy on it, the enemy is not going to just give you something that don't feel good, that don't taste good, that don't smell like in the moment. But then at the end, you know what? What profits a man to gain the world and you losing your soul?
You just touched on something so powerful, and I'm going to go write that down, and I'm going to do a lot of research into that. But we are being marketed out of our identity.
Shoot.
You know, they have marketing teams that market you out of your money. They're literally, when a company wants to sell a product, they literally have teams of brainiacs that come together to decide on how are we going to get the dollars out of their pocket? How are we going to get them to buy our product? How are we going to get him to wear our jacket or our shoes or our thing? We are literally right now being marketed out of our identity.
And oh my God.
And what more valuable, what is the most valuable thing that you absolutely have? Your identity has to be the absolute most valuable thing, because at the end of the day, you know, God created us what? In his image.
And like you said, it looks like everybody's like a copycat of everything.
Everything.
You know?
But God created us in his image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. So God created us in his image. And so people don't understand that the enemy is coming for our image, our identity. He is coming after our identity.
We talk about, you hear the identity theft, and we think about, you know, okay, somebody stole my identity or they're using my credit card. Like, the enemy is literally doing that, and it's beyond your credit. It's your life. It's exactly who you are. And the crazy part, because you talked about how they're marketing to us to take the identity away from us. It's so like to the point where now, and you should know this now, on social media, if you like something, now everything now is starting to come down your timeline that looks exactly the same. Because of something that you shared or something, or there was an ad that you liked or that you commented on. It's not by chance that now all of a sudden you're seeing blue, red colored jeans.
Well, here's the thing. Now, let me just take me 30 seconds to touch on that. People don't understand that Facebook is it's a marketing company which gathers data information. People don't understand. You don't pay to be on Facebook.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
You don't pay your
Mark
value.
Is paid.
Your value of being on Facebook is because you share your identity with Facebook, and because you share your identity now. All these companies that advertise with Facebook, that buy that identity information, they know, okay, now I can market my Home Depot tools to this person. I can market my jeans, like you said. If you ever went into a store and all of a sudden that store, even though you were not on Facebook, even not on your location, that store all of a sudden pops up in your timeline.
Talk about it,
because you have to understand the reason why Mark Zuckerberg is a billionaire is because he has successfully figured out how to gather data, how to gather information. And
check in. Go ahead and check in at the store. Oh, I'm at Forever 21. I'll check in. I'll take a photo. So now they have your data.
But it's so strategic that even without you checking in. Without you checking in, if you don't believe me, go to any place and down your timeline, someplace where you're at, it's going to pop up on your timeline, because that company has paid to follow your identity. That company has paid to find out. Let me find out everybody that likes my ice cream. Let me find out.
Said algorithms.
Oh man, that's so powerful. I'm doing some research on that, man. They're marketing us out of our identity.
Sir.
They're coming for identity. They're coming for your identity. That's the enemy. I want to be clear about that. The devil is coming after your identity. Remember, the prodigal son, when he was in the pig's pen, the thing that made it so powerful was that he said when he came to himself. In other words, when he remembered who he was. And the enemy is coming after our identity. I ain't come to preach. I just came to tell the truth.
Well, you know, sometimes you got to preach. Because how can he hear without a preacher? And how can he preach unless he be sent? Come on up in here. Oh, my God. Can you believe we at the end of the show?
Man.
Like, we so need, like, at least one more hour on that thing. I so may have you come back for a part 2 if you're down for it. I really definitely want to do that. Oh, my God. So, you know what time it is? It's time for our Kingdom Solution. And then we're going to go back to Radonte just for a quick reminder of, kind of where he is and how you guys can stay connected to him. But the Kingdom Solution is just an opportunity where I can give you a scripture to take with you to meditate on, because it's crazy out here, and if you don't have something to hold to, you don't have an anchor that grips and holds the solid rock, then you all ground is sinking sand, I'm telling you. And so what God gave me last night is Romans 12:2, and it says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. You have an identity, and I guarantee you it's not in Lil Wayne, and it's not in social media. It is in Christ Jesus.
Yes.
Oh my God, we could go in and we could go on.
We needed another hour just on that.
I know,
just
on that, because I know.
Yeah.
Radonte, tell them one more time where they can connect to you.
Listen, you can reach me on Facebook. I'm literally minimizing my social media imprint. You can find me on Facebook at Radonte Ashford or Pastor Radonte Ashford. You can the Pastor Radonte Ashford page is easier to follow because I do have 5,000 friends on the other page, and I try to navigate through those. But the Pastor Radonte Ashford page is open, so you can follow me on there. And that's generally where I'm at on social media. Or if you're in the Milwaukee area, come and visit us. If you do not have a church home, if you got a church, go to your church.
Yeah.
If you do not have a church home, come and visit us at 3940 North 21st Street. Again, that's 3940 North 21st Street. We're there Sundays at 10 a.m. and Wednesday evening. Tonight, I teach Bible study at 6:30.
Yes. Oh my God, Pastor Radonte, we absolutely love you here at Saving the City. Shout out to Monty Mabra, I can say your name, for being on the show earlier as my Milwaukee treasure. Thanks to our weekly sponsor, Mima's Gourmet Delights, and to each of you. Be sure to follow me on social media to stay connected to all things Saved in the City. And until next week, be encouraged.